So, what's up? Basically, this is part two to a video I literally just posted. All right. Now, this video was the difference between race, nationality, and culture. And the reason I'm doing a part two is because I actually recorded that original video on, I believe, like March 2015. And I never really watched it back. I just sort of like went on a rant and then was like, yeah, that'll do. Boom, posted it. Good to go, right? And I watched it today when I posted, and I was like, I didn't actually explain everything. Like, I kind of like went on a rant about the census and nationality and how some people feel that by saying that you're African American or, by calling yourself black means that you must be African American when there are black people who are not African American. So, and I thought, I didn't really explain it properly. So this is part two. I might take the other video down. I might not. Who knows? I actually can't see a thing right now, so because I got these two halogen lights, which, as you can see, like hands, right, which are just like bright in my face right now. See, but so there is a huge misunderstanding when it comes to race, nationality, culture, and ethnicity. All right, so there's a page, for example, on Instagram called Black Women Latino Men. They've actually just recently changed. They originally said that they were an interracial Instagram page, and they've recently changed it to intercultural, which, I respect and I appreciate that based on a lot of the conversations that I think were being had on one of the posts. Sometimes people think that they think Hispanic is a race. They think Hispanic, Latino is a race. It's not a race. It's a culture. So let's break it down. Let's break it down firstly. Let's go like this. Race. Race, the definition of race are defining physical characteristics. This could be your hair, this could be your lips, your nose, your skin tone. So these are things that define your race. So for example, sometimes you get Dominicans who look just like African Americans, whether it be a light-skinned African American or a dark-skinned African American, but they say, oh, no, I'm not black. But you look just like a black person since you have the exact same defining physical characteristics, so their race would still be black. And they turn around, they say, no, I'm not African American, or no, I'm not black, I'm Hispanic, or I'm Latino. Latino and Hispanic are not races, they're cultures. So you can have a white person who is still a Latino, and you can have a black person who's still a Latino. For example, you have guys like Tego Calderon. This is a Puerto Rican. Puerto Rican is his nationality, right? His culture is Hispanic, Latino, whatnot, but his race is black. He's black. Then you have a guy like Pitbull. Pitbull, he's a Cuban. That's his nationality. He also has the same culture as Tego Calderon. He is a Latino, a Hispanic, but Pitbull's race is white, and he has also stated that he is a white man.
One of the strikes that I had against me getting into the rap game, being white, blue eyes, from Miami where nobody thought anybody could rap, and Cuban. I mean, mother.
Now, so that lets you know that Hispanic and Latino are cultures, not races. For example, Zoe Saldana. Zoe Saldana, her nationality-wise, Puerto Rican and Dominican. These are actually her ethnicities. I'll get into that. Her culture is Latino and Hispanic. Racially, she is black. And to make it a little easier sometimes for people, they refer to it as Afro-Latino or Afro-Latina because you're basically stating the race and the culture all together. So an Afro-Latino or an Afro-Latino will be somebody who is black with a Latin culture. So let me get down to it. So nationality is the place to which you either are born or you have citizenship of. So for example, an ethnicity, I'm going to go into it. An ethnicity is normally your parents' heritage. So it's normally the countries your parents are from. That would normally be your ethnicity because you might not be born in the same place that your parents are born, but that would still be your ethnicity. So let's use me for an example to make it easier. So me, citizenship-wise or nationality-wise, I'm an American. That's my nationality. My culture, I'm intercultural because my parents have slightly different cultures. So my mother being Puerto Rican, nationality-wise, and my father being Jamaican nationality-wise, I have a Hispanic, Latin / Caribbean, West Indian culture. Now, Puerto Rico and Jamaica are both in the West Indies, both in the Caribbean, but Puerto Rico shares a Latin West Indian culture or a Latin Caribbean culture, whereas Jamaica has a more like there's still a Caribbean West Indian culture, but it's more, British influences, okay, based on colonizers. Now, then my race, based on my parents, would make me black. Now, yes, I do have multiple races within me. My father, so we'll break my father down now. My father, nationality is Jamaican. His culture is West Indian Caribbean. His race is black. My mother is Puerto Rican. Her culture is Latina or Afro-Latina and or Hispanic, and her race, she is mixed. She's triracial, but she's still identified as black, as an Afro-Latina, so I'm also black. So these things make me up, all right? So you could have somebody, for example, who is, let's say, a person that is, right, so we'll give you some examples. So you got a guy that, let's say, Dante. Dante is African-American. His nationality is American. His culture would also sort of be, Afro-American. His race would be black. Okay. Now, the correct term for race, for racial classification, isn't actually black. Black is an incorrect term for race, but is commonly accepted. So the races are Negroid, which would be black. Then you have Mongoloid, which is an umbrella race, which basically encapsulates whether you are Asian, like Oriental or Indian or Pakistani, Japanese, Korean, these kind of people. Also, allegedly the Native Americans or indigenous peoples of the South Americas. And then you have Caucasoid, which would be your Caucasians, white, Arab, Asian, like or Indian or Pakistani, Indo-Caucasians and whatnot. All right, those are the correct terms.
Now, this might have confused people when I said Indian and Arab were Caucasian. Now, Indian is a nationality and Arab is a culture. Yes, you get black Arabs, you get white Arabs, and mixed Arabs. But the reason I said that they're Caucasian is this. All white people are Caucasian. However, not all Caucasians are white. Now, we know that race is a social construct and it had to be created by somebody. And in the racial construct, they dictate that race is based also on your skull shape, and that these people from these groups have a Caucasoid skull. So as you can see in the picture, it says Northwest European, Eastern European, South European, Turkish, Iranian, Afghanistani, Pakistani, Indian, Horn of Africa, Middle East. And if you noticed, you'll see the different color and skin ranges as well. So people from India are classified as Caucasian, also as people from Horn of Africa. So we're talking East Africa, like your Eritreans, Ethiopians, etc., etc. A lot of these people would not be comfortable with having people call them white, but they're not saying they're white, they're saying that they're Caucasian, i.e. Caucasoid, which to me is a bit bogus. I really never understood it, because somebody who is from Ethiopia, Uganda even, are not, people who are Nilotic people can be classified as Caucasian, although to me they clearly look black. But like I said, it's a social construct, it is their labels. And the reason they probably did this is more or less probably for the Egyptian thing. Because as you can see from this guy is Nilotic, his skin is clearly black, but based on where he's from and his skull shape, they'd say he's Caucasoid. And you can see he looks a lot like Tutankhamun, and this is who they class as Caucasian. So just because they say the Egyptians are Caucasian based on their skull shape, their skin is obviously clearly black. They were clearly black. That's where these bogus-ass historians try to claim that Egyptians are dark-skinned Caucasians. They're talking about their skull shape, not their actual physical features. They need to make up their mind with the racial classifications.
So let's give you another example. So we gave you Dante. Dante, nationality American. Culturally, he's also Afro-American. He has an Afro-American or African-American culture. Racially, he's black. Okay. Now, let's say you have a guy like, let's say you've got Giuseppe. Giuseppe, nationality, he is Italian. Culturally, he has a European culture, a European Latin culture, a European Italian culture, and he is, racially is white. He's Caucasian. Now, if Giuseppe was, say he was born in America, Giuseppe would be an American national, so his nationality would be American. His race would also be white. His culture, again, would be that Italian European culture. But his ethnicity, which would be what his parents are, where his parents were born, they're Italian. So his ethnicity would be Italian. Ethnicity is normally where your parents are from, if you're not from the same place. You know, so when I turn around and say when I say I'm Puerto Rican and Jamaican, that's not my nationality, that's my ethnicity. My race, I'm black. Some people would refer to you as mixed, some people would refer to you as not. I'm black, all right? So nationality, race, culture, ethnicity. Hopefully that makes a little bit more sense. I can give you another example just to make it a little bit easier. Let's say you have let's say you've got I don't know, let's say Patience. Patience is, her nationality is British. She was born in the United Kingdom. Her race is black, she's negroid, and her culture is African because her parents are from Nigeria, so her ethnicity is Nigerian. This is the difference between nationality, race, culture, and ethnicity. A lot of people get these things confused. So sometimes you will have a person who's Puerto Rican and they'll say, "What's your race?" And they go, "Oh, I'm Puerto Rican." That's a nationality. Puerto Rican's a nationality. It's not a race. And they go, "Oh, okay, I'm Hispanic or I'm Latino." Like, no, that's not a race. That's a culture. Okay, this is a culture. So these are the things that you need to understand. So nationality, the country that you live in, that you have a passport to, or that you were born in. Race is your genetic actual makeup, defining physical characteristics. Your culture, is the food you eat, the language you speak, all of this stuff that is built into your culture. And what else? And ethnicity is normally the country that your parents are from. So it's like more heritage wise. Ethnicity is more heritage.
Now, in regards to ethnicity, I wanted to explain the African American aspect because I said that ethnicity is based on where your family are from or also your heritage. It's also ancestral. So African American is not actually a race, it's an ethnicity because your ancestors are of African descent. So that would be similar to where your family are from. You don't know exactly what country they're from. So for example, if you knew that your ancestors were Nigerian, you could actually say you were Nigerian American, and that would be your ethnicity. Your ethnicity is African American, your race is black, your culture will be Afro American, your nationality is American.
Hopefully that makes a lot more sense than part one. This is part two. I can't see anything because the lights are so freaking bright. If I could show you, I would show you, but the camera is there. So yeah, I hope that makes a lot more sense. I want to just quickly point the Instagram page that I mentioned when I was talking about the black women and the Latino men thing. The reason that was an issue was that they identified themselves at the time, they don't do it now, but at the time they identified as an interracial Instagram page. Now, interracial would be two separate races. So I just want to touch on this, two separate races. Like a black person with a white person, or a Mongoloid person with a Negroid, or Mongoloid, Caucasoid, or Asian with white, or Caucasian. When you look on their page, they would post pictures of black women, and then they would post pictures of men who have a Latino culture but call it interracial. And sometimes these men were black. They were clearly black. They were very dark skinned, thick afro hair, very Africanated features, and they would call them Latino, and they would say this was interracial. No, this is black love. It's two black people, but it just happens to be one of them has a different culture. So they weren't interracial. It was actually intercultural. Sometimes they would post pics of Latino men that were white, or sometimes they would post pics of Latino men that were mixed race, biracial looking. Like I said, they changed it now. They realized that it's not an interracial page, but an intercultural page. So I've seen sometimes when people think about, they're like, oh, they're in an interracial couple because there's an African American woman with a Puerto Rican man. So this is interracial, and I'm like, no, it's actually intercultural, because if he has black ancestry or African ancestry, then that's still black love. And when I say like Puerto Ricans are black, I'm talking about Puerto Ricans that look like me or are darker than me or look black, look black. When I say Puerto Ricans are black, you know which ones I'm talking about. I'm talking about the ones with black features, okay? So, yeah, I said I was going. I am going. Angel Ramirez-Jordan, thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. And boom. Thank you.
Now, obviously, that guy is really, really annoying. I don't know why any of you watch him or subscribe to him, but if you like that kind of thing, great, wonderful. But long story short is this: Hispanic is not a race, it's a culture. A Latino or a Latina is somebody who speaks a Latin-based language. You can be any race and be Hispanic. You can also be any race and be a Latino or a Latina. Yes, you can be black and be a Hispanic. You can be a Latino, Latina, and also be black. And yeah, there are white ones. I'm pretty sure you get the gist now. In the description, there's going to be a video called Puerto Ricans Are Black, Peace, Love, and Coconut Oil. Hey man, that's racist! Please remember that from now on, brand new never before seen videos, as well as live streams, will only be available on my website, ikyg.com, via a Patreon subscription. ikyg.com is a Black-owned, Black-ran platform, 100% free from censorship. It's the only place where we don't have to worry about what we say and expressing ourselves. Make sure you check out the description and the comment section for important links, as well as information in video form that shows you what benefits you get when you support the site and join my Patreon. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more, then don't forget to subscribe and be notified every time I upload a video. For exclusive content and perks, check out my Patreon. This is where we have private live streams, group chats, live Q&As, live phone calls, and open topics. This is a safe space where you can interact with other like-minded people, make friends, send each other direct private messages, and so much more without any trolls. And yes, you get to use GIFs and images in the live chats. So what are you waiting for? This is a completely independent website, free from censorship. If you'd like to make a donation towards the site so we can continue to put out the truth without fear of being silenced, then please hit that donation button. It's greatly appreciated. Check out the rest of the site for videos, private and public live streams, find out all the tea, and make sure to utilize the Black Money section of the website. Advertise your business absolutely free to people that look like you, free forever. And don't forget to follow me on Instagram and Twitter at angel_IKYG.